What happens when someone without a country needs to leave the US to complete their consular process? Today, I'm going to share the real case of a client who was born in the Palestinian territories, is married to a US citizen, but doesn't have a recognized nationality. And while his case is extreme, it can teach us a lot about the immigration system, consular process, and in particular, how stateless individuals are handled. What is a stateless person? A stateless person is someone who is not recognized as a citizen by any country. This can happen for many reasons: the collapse of a state, political conflicts, laws that discriminate against certain ethnic or religious groups, or even simply because they were born in a place with no clear nationality system. Here are some examples of populations or individuals who find themselves as stateless. Palestinians, like our client, born in the West Bank or Gaza, sometimes lack recognized citizenship from either Israel or the Palestinian territories. Many hold travel documents from other countries like Jordan or Syria, but not all. Former Soviet citizens, individuals who were citizens of the Soviet Union but didn't get citizenship from successor countries like Russia, Ukraine, Latvia, etc. Kurds from Syria or Iraq, individuals from the south of Sudan, ethnic Haitians born in the Dominican Republic who were later stripped of Dominican citizenship, ethnic Nepalese expelled from Bhutan. What can someone like this do when they want to fix their immigration status? Our client was born in the Palestinian territories. ICE tried to deport him because he had an order of removal, but neither Israel nor the Palestinian Authority would accept him. He has no passport, no recognized nationality, therefore he is stateless. However, he's been living in the US for years, has a pending U visa application, and is married to a US citizen. But since he entered without inspection, he can't adjust his status from inside the US. He would have to leave the country to complete the consular process. But where do you go if you don't have a country? This is a very complex situation, but not an impossible one. There are paths forward. The most important starts with Form I-131, but let's break it down step by step. Step 1, you need to get your family petition approved. Now, for this client, it's a family petition. For you, it might be a separate petition. Either way, you need to get a visa. For our client, since he's married to a US citizen, the first step is for him or for her to file Form I-130 petition for alien relative for him. Now, I call that documenting their relationship, but immigration refers to it as Form I-130. Once approved, he can begin the consular process outside the United States if he can get a travel document. If you have an active deportation order, like our client, leaving the country could trigger serious penalties, like not being able to come back. So you may have an additional step like a motion to reopen or an I-212 waiver. That's why it's essential to have clear legal strategy, guided by an attorney. For now, let's assume he doesn't have an order of removal. In other words, let's avoid that problem altogether. So step 2, apply for a travel document. A stateless person can apply for a refugee-style travel document by filing Form I-131. Some of you may recognize that because it's the same form filed for advanced parole. It's the same form filed for humanitarian parole. While this document is often used for permission to travel to leave the US and lawfully re-enter, it can also be issued to stateless individuals to get travel documents. To qualify for this travel document, you need to prove you're truly stateless. For example, no country recognizes who you are as a citizen. Your identity, this can include birth certificates, obviously not passports because you wouldn't have this problem if you had a passport, school or medical records, or sworn affidavits. This is very much a case-by-case basis. And that you need the travel document to complete the immigration process. This document would allow you to leave the US and return legally, but that brings us to the next challenge. Step 3. What consulate do you go if you have no country? In normal consular processes, the person goes to the US embassy in their home country, but for stateless people, that's not possible. In the case of people born in Palestinian territories like our client, one option is to request that the consular interview be held in a third country, such as Jordan or Egypt. These countries have historically accepted some Palestinian cases for consular interviews, but it's not guaranteed. You have to formally request it from the Department of State or the appropriate consulate, explaining the humanitarian situation and the reason for the need. Why does this matter to you? Maybe you're not stateless, but if you're in immigration limbo, if you come from a country with unclear ties to the US, or if you have dual citizenship and passport complications, or maybe you're coming to the US or you were coming to US file for asylum and you fear persecution if you go back in your country of origin. Many of these challenges could also apply to you. And most importantly, this case shows why legal representation is so critical. The immigration system is full of pathways, but also full of traps. Don't walk it alone. Everyone deserves a fair chance, whether they have a passport or not, because human dignity isn't based on a piece of paper or a border. So if you or someone you know is in a complicated situation, reach out to us. Every case has its nuances, every story matters, and every person deserves to be heard. Let me know if you'd like to see more stories like this on the channel, and don't forget to subscribe below. And remember, we're in this together.
Hey, did you like the video? I invite you to watch another video where I share more tips on how to protect your reputation as an immigrant. Until next time.